split end is a split in your hair. Pretend this is a single strand of hair. You're blow drying, you're bleaching, now we're perming. If you continue to constantly mess with your hair, the outer layer, which is the cuticle, it's see-through. It looks like little fish scales or shingles on a roof. They kind of overlap. That part, the cuticle, will get worn down. We need the cuticle because it's the protective layer. It's like the clear coat to your nail polish. It protects the actual color. So once that protective layer is damaged, the inner parts of the inner guts of the hair, they're exposed now. And that's called the cortex. And it starts to unravel and will start to separate. And the longer you ignore this, it will keep splitting, traveling up the hair, and eventually it'll create what looks like a little knot, and it will just snap off and break. Very similar to yarn. If you cut yarn blunt, just like we would cut our hair, you've got this nice piece of yarn. Yarn isn't just one solid string. It's made up of tiny fibers twisted together. So it's really similar to your hair. Now, if we mess with this yarn, blow drying, bleaching, if this was a piece of hair, or try to get this through one of those craft needles, even though the hole is like that big, it never fits, the yarn starts to split. So you'll have one fiber go completely AWOL, crazy, away from the rest of the yarn, and you can't get it through the needle. The more you try to get it through, it continues to split, just like your hair. How do we continue our craft that is made for 4-year-olds? You cut below that mess. So that's what you have to do with your hair. You cannot repair split ends. There's a lot of products that say, we'll fix your hair, repairing disulfide bonds. And for some of them, more so the luxury hair care brands, that is true. They are working inside the hair shaft to do very minimal repair. Now, some of the cheaper hair products will make you think your split ends are fixed because they will actually fuse them temporarily together. So when you're feeling your hair, looking at your hair, you think, oh, my split ends are better. But as soon as you shampoo your hair, you're back to the craziness. There's a lot of different types of split ends. The first one we're gonna look at looks like this, and it's the most common. It's called a Y split because it looks like the letter Y. So your single strand of hair went whoopsie. Before we look at the Y split, I wanna show you what a healthy-ish strand of hair looks like. It's coming from my head. Although my hair has gotten a lot better, it's still not where it needs to be. A healthy strand of hair should look similar to this. It should be very clean. There should be nothing sticking out of this, and definitely no splits at the end. It should be a blunt cut. So I'm gonna cut a piece of my hair blunt from the back in the middle because it's virgin hair, and it should be the most healthy or the healthiest. There you go. We have a little bit more than we need. I just need one single strand, but we're gonna look at what I just cut from the root, not the bottom, because the root is gonna be the healthiest part. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice again. And my old microphone broke, so I'm using a new microphone. No idea what this sounds like. It's probably gonna sound like I recorded this in a Pringles can. I'm not so great at all of this. If this sounds as bad as I think it's going to sound, I will continue to improve it every single week. I'm just trying to figure it out. So apologies for that. Okay, we have the single strand of hair. Where's the button? We're gonna turn it on, and I'm just gonna take pictures of these. Every time I try to record a video of this, it just doesn't look great. Not that this picture is going to look super great either. I need to get a different reducer for this so we can really see the hair, but you'll be able to get the idea from this. You can see that I cut it in a blunt line. Now, if you get super close, you can see that I probably need to sharpen my shears because it's not as straight as it could be. If you've ever had split ends directly after a haircut or those white little nodules, that's a weak point in the hair where it's going to break, and that was caused by really dull shears. Cutting with dull shears is similar to cutting a steak with a butter knife. If you're sawing and hacking at the piece of meat, it turns out all frayed and crazy looking, versus cutting it with a really sharp knife. You only have to make one pass through it and it's nice and clean and perfect. Same kind of concept with shears. That's why it's important that shears are constantly being professionally sharpened. These are my little dinky pair. I use them myself, but I do need to have them sharpened. So that's what that little piece is, but other than that, it looks good. Now we're gonna look at a Y split. There's one. That didn't take long to find. And again, that's just where the hair split to make a Y. This is your typical Y split. You can see the point where the hair starts to split. And if you look really close, above the split, I have damage happening. So I actually need a heck of a trim. It looks like I need to get a pixie cut. Look at all those little branches peeking out. And sorry, I put too much liquid on it and some of this is dirty. I am learning how to use this. I never used a microscope before. Who was I talking to? I think I was talking to my partner because he was teaching me how to use this. And And he was like, you've never used a microscope? No, I never used a microscope in school. I don't know what kind of rich school you went to where you had microscope lessons, but that was not a thing. This is terrible. My hair shaft has little tiny breaks in it all the way up here. So I could cut this off and they could end up making new split ends very easily. The ends of the split end look like a chopstick. Have you ever gotten those chopsticks and you tear them apart, disposable chopsticks, hello, and you mess up and one of them frays and it's all crazy? So you have to make the choice, ask for another one, which you're not going to do, or just use the uneven chopsticks. One has too much weight on the other side. I can barely use them to begin with. It looks like you just broke a stick in half and it's that frayed end. Now this piece of hair is crazy. It almost looks like an incomplete split, but I don't think so. An incomplete split is where you have your strand of hair and you'll have a split that happens in the middle of the hair, almost like the handle of a pirate sword, and the end stays intact. So you literally have a hole here. There's no repairing this because when you brush the hair or continue to put heat on it, whatever you're doing, it's going to continue to either run down or up and cause the hair to tear and then eventually create the knot and break. This split end is long. It's creating a tangle, it looks like. And you can see the extreme breaking points. This is about to break. I mean, it is gonna break any second. So that's a quick look at some of my split ends. Not great. Let me know if you wanna see the other types of split ends. I'll have to search for them, but I'm sure I've got them. The feather ones are my favorite. It's crazy how the hair will just start doing this and still be hanging on. But let me know if you want to see the other types of split ends or anything under the microscope. I'm learning how to use it. It's getting easier, but it's, you know, technology and stuff like this is not my thing. So it takes me a little bit longer than most people to really understand it. I just don't get it.